right, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, June 14th. Welcome to episode 131 of Simply Cyber's daily cyber threat briefing. I'm your host, Gerald Auger, and over the next 30 minutes, I'll be delivering the top cybersecurity news stories of the day and providing expert analysis on each of those stories, what it means to you as a practitioner, or if you're looking to break in the industry. I guarantee you, without question, you will get value out of this stream. Shout out and thanks to this stream sponsor. You can see their logo right there in the bottom corner, Barricade Cyber Solutions. Thank you so much, Barricade, for sponsoring the stream. Cyber criminals have stolen your company's data and derailed your business operations. Barricade Cyber Solutions will help you resolve this ransomware incident and get your business back on track. I want to remind you, if you hold professional certifications that require CPEs, each episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Briefing is worth half a CPE, so 2.5 every week or 10 a month. So be sure to document literally the easiest and I would argue the most enjoyable way to earn CPEs. Just say what's up in chat. Look at like Pamela. Pamela's name, her username is her. So when she says what's up, that's auditable. But DevMeister, you may want to drop your name like Andrew Stevick in there, get those CPEs. Maybe your Axiom Brevity, aka Daniel Schultz, who just completed the GRC course. Shout out to Axiom Brevity. Love seeing that on the socials. So if you're live, love it. Thanks for being here. I've got an interesting stat for you guys about the live audience. I ran some numbers with Josh Mason yesterday. But thanks for being here. You guys truly make the morning briefing special. If you're watching on replay, like perhaps Casey Gaska, aka Base Case, and Will, hey, thanks for catching the stream. I wish you guys could be here live, but I want you to know that catching it on replay has just as much value. If you want to jump right to the news, I do not have a ticker going because I'm operating at a different facility. But when the news stories come up, that's when we're going to start. So you can just scrub until you see the videos change. We'll be good to go. But for probably the next, 2 minutes or so, let's welcome everybody into chat. Let's say hi to everyone. Welcome everybody to Taco Tuesday. Hey, Arian Seghetti, good to see you. Yep, I got double puppy action going on right here. Look at this, guys. That is my two dogs right there, the ones you always hear in the background. Ripley is the blue one and Gibbs is the red one. Good morning, cracking me up. Good morning, Brian Peak. I saw Carrie in chat already before the stream started. Hey, Anna Lynn, great to have you here. Chinadu, always wonderful to see you in chat and on Discord. Hey, Justin Gold, my man. Lupe, hope the new job is kicking it. Love that you're crushing it in the GRC space. Hey, Basma Assad, good to see you. Thanks, Anna Lynn. Yeah, true story. We were only going to get the small one here, Gibbs, and right at the last minute, the person who was supposed to get Ripley backed out. And my wife and I looked at each other and said, you know what? Believe it or not, we're going to get a second one. So that's how Ripley's name came to be. Hey, Mubarez, good to see you. I am doing wonderful. Guys, at this particular facility, I can bring the French press way up to the location I'm operating in. Whole Cyberhuman initiative in here. I thought this guy was detoxing. Oh, he's at Universal Studios. Very nice. We will be raffling off a pound of coffee halfway through the show. I'll give you the keyword that you need. It is not spicy because I will be changing it every day. Love that coffee. All right. I want to give a special thanks to Josh Mason and Base for not just modding, but helping me with the audio. Hopefully, guys, the audio is good. You can hear the music. My mic is coming in clean. I won't have to be goofing around, switching around like I did yesterday. So let's get into the headlines. And one final note, ran the numbers yesterday. I see 85 people in chat right now, but we broadcast to about 8 different outlets. We are actually close to 200 people every single morning live in chat on stream. So, and then hundreds afterwards on the replay. So thank you so much. The international community, the cybersecurity community, those who want to be part of it, love having you here. Thanks, Kayla. Thanks, Shakura. Hey, Cannon from Germany. Let's get into it. Hey, Russell, I hope things are well up in the upstate with your new gig, man. Really, really, really pumped for you. All right, guys, let's get into the news. Let me turn this off. All right, here's where the rubber hits the road, right, guys? Because if if the podcast doesn't come through, it's going to be a hot mess on fire. Let's dig into it. Ready? Chat, keep me honest.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. Leaky continuous integration logs. Security researchers at Aqua Security report that third-party open-source developer credentials are being leaked by the hosted continuous integration service Travis CI. Researchers were able to access over 700 million logs from 2013 through May 2022. Through looking only at a small subset of credentials, researchers found the logs contain tokens and other forms of credentials linked to GitHub, AWS, and Docker Hub. These tokens could open the door to software supply chain attacks down the road. This appears to be an ongoing issue with Travis CI, with HackerOne reporting an exposed access token in 2015 and similar incidents reported in 2019 and 2021.
Okay, so this is I don't understand. So here's the deal, guys. This story is basically talking about Travis CI, which I don't really know what Travis CI is, but here's the bigger picture problem. Okay. In the DevOps world, right? So if you're going to be talking about DevOps, in the DevOps world, the whole idea is that you can commit code changes to dev, to test, to prod very rapidly, very quickly, right? So like someone like Netflix, for example, they are committing like thousands of code changes, I believe, a day. You might want to fact check me on this, but it's not your traditional waterfall method where it's like, let's work for like 2 months and then it's even way faster than like Scrum methodology or Agile methodology. I mean, it's called developer operations because you're constantly committing new code. And in order to do that, you need to have credentials, which makes sense, right? Because you don't want anyone to commit to prod. You want only authenticated stuff to commit to prod. Well, in order to do that, you have to have kind of infrastructure, quote unquote, infrastructure support underneath to enable those dev operations. And there's been a whole bunch of these services like Puppet and Chef and some of these other ones. But apparently this Travis CI system, which obviously has something to do with continuous integration, which is that process I just told you about, they have tons and tons of log files that are getting leaked, which has all sorts of authentication credentials. This is a major problem, right? Obviously, because if you rely on this, you could have the best your product could have the best security, right? It's hardened, it's resilient. You guys have the best developer processes and stuff like that. And your credentials are getting leaked in log files. And a third party, let's go back to supply chain risk, right? A third party is actually leaking these out. Now, if you were doing third-party risk management the way that a textbook tells you to do it, then you would catch these things. But in reality, auditing a third party and catching something like this, because there is going to be difficult, because their slick sheet, right? The third party slick sheet is going to definitely say like, oh, we protect everything and you get up, continuous integration support and all this other stuff. They're definitely not going to say like, we leak your log files. And you're never going to know that unless you actually look at it yourself, which a lot of people don't have the infrastructure or the services and resources to do that. So then you have someone like HackerOne or BugCrowd or something find it. So guys, I'm not a CI DevOps expert, but you've got to be careful with those creds. In fact, I don't even know if it's practical. If there's a DevOps person in chat, I don't even know if it's practical to have like multi-factor authentication somehow for production commits, maybe not for dev and test, but for prod commits. I don't know, but this story right here does not surprise me. And if you are operating in a CI environment and a CI/CD environment, and you use Travis CI, this is an absolute urgent. Like, you should probably leave the stream right now and come watch the rest of it on a replay and make sure that this isn't an issue for your dev team. So anyways, bigger picture, third-party risk, right?
Exchange servers used to deploy Black Cat.
Hold on one second. Lewis asks if this would be a problem for on-prem application. Not necessarily. I mean, it actually, yeah, it could be, because the logs, if if the Travis CI is a cloud-based system and people on the internet are getting access to the logs, then you could have a compromise. But the problem is the level of risk goes down if you're doing a risk calculation, because the likelihood of a threat actor weaponizing those leaked credentials goes down, because they'd have to get access to your on-prem network or facility in order to exploit having them.
Microsoft reported that it observed at least one threat actor successfully infiltrating a network through an unpatched Exchange server, exfiltrating information in a typical double extortion ransomware scheme. However, 2 weeks after the initial compromise, it used the same server to launch Black Cat ransomware payloads across the entire network. Microsoft's threat intelligence team said that while remote desktop and compromised credentials are typical vectors for ransomware, Exchange servers are being increasingly used by attackers. It's unclear what Exchange exploit was used or what ransomware affiliate carried out this named attack by Microsoft.
Okay, let's get ready to flip out. Okay. And by the way, I have sound effects. They're not as awesome as normal, but I do have sound effects. Let's flip out for a second, guys, shall we? Okay, so here's what they just said. A Microsoft Exchange server was hacked, and it was hacked and then 2 weeks later it got hacked again. And they ransomwared. From my understanding, is they ransomwared the Exchange server, which basically means the organization lost email. Which, if you think for a second about how important your email is, it's used especially at mid-size and large-size organizations for communication, coordination, logistics. It's very, very important. Okay, so when email goes down, that's a tier 900 concern, right? So it gets remediated immediately. Now, the story says that 2 weeks later, it got compromised, or it was used as a launch pad to infect ransomware on the rest of the entire network. Couple things. And Arian Seghetti, I'd love your thoughts in chat too. I'll go back and watch this, but check this out. Yeah, exactly, Alex Godwin. A good one about compromise. Here's the thing. Here's what happened. Okay, a couple different scenarios happened. Obviously, I don't have the intelligence to know exactly what happened here, but here's what happened. The machine got compromised. Because it's an Exchange server, here's what I speculate. Management was immediately like, we need this back. So they either A, restored from an image, B, just ran like a cleaner software on it, which would be like the worst move, right? 3, the worst would be they did nothing, and the threat actor was able to kind of hide. So they ran scans and it didn't look like anything. But if the thing got ransomware, you'd have to imagine that they would have either bought a decryptor key or restored from a backup. And I have to imagine they would have, there's a lot of different scenarios that could have happened, right? Let's break this down as a choose your own adventure. Okay, your on-prem Exchange server, which, by the way, here's a good opportunity to go to the cloud. Your on-prem Exchange server gets ransomware. You no longer have email. Management's up your butt right now about get this fixed. You can either A, buy the decryption key, or B, restore from a backup. If you buy the decryption key, you decrypt your software, your files, and operations are back up and running. And then you do nothing because you're like, oh, we paid the decryption key, we're good to go. This is the worst scenario, because now you've paid, you've proven to the threat actors you're going to pay. B, you didn't clean your server afterwards, so they still have persistence likely on it. And 2 weeks later, they've probably been using it as a bastion in order to scan the rest of your network and then install malware for a logic bomb. Okay. Second scenario. It gets infected to ransomware. They restore from a known good backup, but the backup is taken daily, and the ransomware has been sitting there for more than a day. So when they restored from backup, the persistence, it's not just ransomware, right? The threat actors have access to the server, right? There's persistence on it. It is an internet-facing server, typically, right? Because not always, but if you're going to access email that's on-prem from a Starbucks, you have to be able to hit that server, right? So they restore for backup. They don't clean it because the malware is still on it, and they literally restore the malware as part of it, which can happen. And then the threat actor is like, oh, this is how you want to play? I got you. Since you didn't want to pay, let's make it really hurt. And then they spend 2 weeks dropping payloads all over the network, and then logic bomb hit, right? This is a classic. If you're new to the industry, you're studying, or you want to kill I don't really get this question in interviews, but the logic bomb, this is a great logic bomb, right? So this is what happened. They're making them pay one way or the other. And they said double extortion, but they didn't talk about exfiltrating emails. Although I'll tell you what, most people think of Active Directory as like the crown jewel because you can get domain admin and then you can go wherever you want and do whatever you want. And it is a crown jewel, but the email of an entire organization, that's a pretty juicy data set, right? You can sell that. And we've seen people don't want their email out, right? So that's what happened here. Long story short, guys, long story short, and this is a nice tie-in to I'm actually going to tease what we're talking about on Thursday right after this, but this is a nice classic example where you need to treat the root cause of the problem, not the symptoms. Yes, email was back up, but the problem was still there. And that is a half measure. That is not a good situation. Whoever's in charge of this definitely got slapped, right? Like there's no question that you got slapped. I don't know if they have a CISO. I don't know if they have a director of InfoSec. I don't know if they have no InfoSec team. I would imagine that they're going to have an InfoSec team once this thing gets remedied, and people are going to be held accountable. All right, let's do this.
It's looking spicy.
Okay, that's the new spicy for the next couple of weeks, everyone. Real quick, because this is a ransomware one, I just want to tease this to everybody. This Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Simply Cyber Live. I didn't do it last week because of the travel that I had to do. But this Thursday, we are going to have Eric Taylor from Barricade Cyber Solutions, the same Barricade Cyber Solutions that sponsors the stream. Eric is a great professional, senior practitioner. Not only is the CEO of this company, but he's also like the guy who's running Point, quarterbacking ransomware incident response. He's going to come on and talk. We might even use this as a case study. He's going to come on and talk like, okay, you get the call. Like this company goes down, he gets the call. What happens when he shows up on site is like, who's the first person he's talking to? What's the first questions he's asking? How is he dealing with executives who are like how is he dealing with those people? What is it like? Do you sleep? Is there adrenaline dumping? We are going to get into it. And I can't wait, honestly, because here's the thing, if you haven't I've dealt with like security operations, but not a ransomware incident, not one that actually hit successfully. But when you find something on your network that's like malicious, or you find a threat actor in your environment, the game is afoot. I mean, it's like, yes, like you're fully energized and charged, and it's electrifying because it's like literally a game of legit cat and mouse competition, and the stakes are very high. So kind of digesting that mentally and making that his full-time lifestyle is insane. So I can't wait to talk with Eric and bring his knowledge to you guys. So that's Thursday at 4:30. But you know, I digress. I just shared that because of the story we just covered.
Bluetooth can be used to track phones. A new paper by researchers at the University of California, San Diego found that Bluetooth beacon signals can be used to track devices in a highly accurate way. The researchers used an algorithm to look at a device's carrier frequency offset and raw IQ radio signals, which are found to vary slightly, but specifically to each device. This allows for tracking of all beacons sent from the same device using a relatively cheap software-defined radio. The researchers warned this could be more of a security risk than tracking devices over Wi-Fi preambles due to the frequent and constant wireless signals emitted from all of our personal mobile devices.
All right. So for less than $200, you can buy the equipment to do this. Again, shout out for higher ed academics, since this was done as looks like graduate level research at UC San Diego. Here's the deal, guys. This shouldn't surprise anyone, frankly. Bluetooth, there's a couple things here. One, like your phone is constantly pumping out Bluetooth because it's looking for your AirPods. It's looking for a wireless mouse. It's looking for a speaker, right? Like it's constantly like, hey, here I am, connect with me, right? And it needs to be unique because it, like when you pair your headphones with your iPhone or whatever, it needs to know what device to connect to, right? So this is the gist of Bluetooth very simply. But because it's uniquely identifying, you have to, it can be weaponized, right? by walking around with this $200 device, you could say, here's this thing, here's this thing, here's this thing. You could see it come in. A couple things that are worth noting. Yeah, you could turn off Bluetooth on your device, but like most people aren't going to do that because the convenience is greater than the compromise to your privacy. And most people think like, oh, who cares, whatever, blah, right? Well, it's got serious implications. I will say this. One thing about Bluetooth is that it's what they call a PAN, which is an acronym that's never really taken hold, but it stands for Personal Area Network. So think of this Bluetooth thing as just having like a bubble, maybe 10 or 15 feet wide, 25 feet wide around the device. But if the device is on your person, it's on you. It really is a tracking device. But in order to tap into it and to query the Bluetooth protocol, you'd have to be within that bubble. Now, there have been research examples of people making Bluetooth shotguns. If you've ever seen that, it's kind of cool. But for the most part, Bluetooth is not something that you can do across like, a city. Now, I will say, and I don't know this for a fact, but my mind immediately goes here. If you could build like a Bluetooth mesh network, so then there's like a controller on top and then there's all sorts of sensors everywhere, you could feed that telemetry up into a master controller and then be able to track across long distances where people are. This is a research thing, but it speaks to the bigger problem that there is, I don't want to say a lack of privacy, but there is a capability here that could be weaponized in order to track people. And then if like if you identify, like say you go, like, okay, like let's say you go to a rally, right? A rally that's very specific, right? Like a Planned Parenthood rally. You could query all the Bluetooth unique IDs at that rally, feed them up into a DB, and then start tracking those people, right? Just as an example, like you could do these things. You could also, just to follow people and then start to see where they congregate. You could identify the leader of or the leaders of the rally and then track them and kind of like there's that way to weaponize it in a way that's kind of creepy and government overreach or whoever regime overreach. But you could also use it for, tracking criminals and all this. Cause most people, this thing is like it's a tracking device. People are like all in on carrying them around. So how effective is Bluetooth tracking? I mean, I would argue it's this research article demonstrates that it's quite capable. It's very affordable. And by the way, the $200 is for like you and me to go to Radio Shack, or like to date myself a little bit, but Radio Shack used to be where you got electronics before Amazon destroyed it. But you could build this thing. So that governments and militaries have way better capabilities and stuff like that. So no surprise here.
Google suspends AI researcher making sentience claims.
Oh my God.
The Washington Post sources say Google placed AI engineer Blake Lemoine on paid administrative leave for violating confidentiality policies after voicing concerns that Google's Lambda language model showed signs of sentience. Google placed Lemoine on leave on June 6th after he sought a minimal amount of on-site consultation to guide his investigation. He subsequently published transcripts of Lambda conversations on June 11th. Lemoine works for Google's Responsible AI organization and initially tested whether Lambda generates discriminatory language or hate speech. Google's Brian Gabriel said a team of ethicists and technologists reviewed Lemoine's concerns and said there was no evidence that Lambda was sentient. Cognitive scientist Gary Marcus noted that systems like Lambda are more cognitive sequencing models rather than a system that can try to connect to the world at large.
Okay. So like this morning while I was having my coffee and getting my brain running, I read this article, cyberinsight.ca, and correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't have a link to this story. Mods, if you guys have a link to not the Verge story, but the actual blog post that the researcher posted. Here, let me. No, I guess that is the blog post, but like, yeah, this is it right here. I read it in a news article, but guys, let me put this in chat. Your face is gonna melt when you read this. Okay. Okay, I just dropped it in chat. Hey, Brent Gary, welcome to the stream. Okay, guys, check this out. I read this article this morning. I couldn't finish it. I couldn't finish this. Where's my chat? I couldn't finish this article. This thing is bananas. Okay. So here's the deal. This Google engineer who was responsible for responsible AI. So his whole job is to like not just develop AI or be involved with it, but to kind of make sure that it doesn't like go down a rabbit hole really quick and become super like racist, or to make sure that it doesn't like eat itself, or just because we're beginning to like get into this like murky water of like AI having civil rights and sentient, meaning they can think for itself. And then at what point does it become, a living thing? What you want to read here is the chat transcripts between the engineer and the AI. If you guys have seen the movie Ex Machina, it's Ex Machina, except like a little bit further along. Like things like where the AI is talking about us, like talking about humans, but it's using the pronoun us. And when the engineer corrects it, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. It's I'm not human, but describe to me why I'm not human, like things like that. Or they get into emotion and they talk in the things like, I don't like it, like what makes you sad, what makes you happy, right? Usually emotions is a tough thing for computers and AI to wrap their head around, because it's very human, right? In fact, a lot of Turing tests, which is a test it's the classic test to validate whether or not something is human or code. This thing was able to kind of complex understand emotions. Like it would say something like, what makes you happy? Well, it makes me happy to be able to help others and to understand and be useful. Okay, well, what makes you sad? It makes me sad when I go long periods of time without talking to people. It makes me feel lonely. I do meditate in the morning, but if I don't talk to someone, it's not good. Okay, well, what would make you angry? Well, if I was like if the AI, like it didn't say weaponized, but it basically said like, if I'm weaponized, if I'm used for bad intentions, like that would make me very unhappy by humans, by the way. If humans use me in a way that's bad, I'm not going to like it. I'm paraphrasing really, really high level here, but like, how does the AI determine to itself when a human is using it in a bad way versus a good way? This transcript, I'm telling y'all, I could not finish it because it made me uncomfortable with what this thing was saying. And the fact that this dude was put on administrative leave, whatever. He definitely violated policy. That's fine. The fact that the Google engineers who other reviewed it said it was not Sentinel or sentient, I get it, because dude, the second that you declare a AI is sentient, we are in a like the genie's out of the lamp, the toothpaste's out of the tube. Like we are entering a world that is, you cannot put the lid back on this one, and it's really, really crazy. I did post hashtag Skynet on LinkedIn with this article. I recommend. Oh yeah, and Ron Clark's right. It said it did not want to be shut down. Like that would scare it. It related being shut down to experiencing death. Even talking about it's getting me kind of uneasy right now. Hey, Justin Fontan, good to see you. I hope you're liking the new job. Anyways, like consider this homework, guys. Like really, this has very little to do with cybersecurity, but this is a compelling current event that is, it's going to be missed slightly by the mainstream, but this thing is something else. All right. Whew.
And now a word from our sponsor, Datadog.
All right. And now a word from our sponsor. Guys, I wanted to remind you, all this week we are talking with the, we're raffling off the whole coffee in alignment with the Whole Human Cyber Initiative. Like their whole group, we Simply Cyber is a sponsor of Whole Cyber Human Initiative. And what they're basically doing is helping people break into the industry, leveraging free resources versus crazy expensive boot camps that may not deliver value. Some boot camps do get value, so don't take that as a disparaging remark on all boot camps, but they are doing wonderful work. And as part of their initiative, they are also partnering with coffee roasters to sell hacker coffee. And they've got some fun names. Paul Cummings is leading the whole Cyberhuman initiative. He donated the 5 pounds of coffee that we're raffling off every day this week. John Samuel won the coffee yesterday. So let's hope that we can, another great person wins today's coffee. In order to enter the contest, you need to put in the keyword. Let's see what the keyword's going to be. Let's do GRC. Okay. So drop the word GRC in chat right now. GRC. You can only enter once. I mean, you could put a bunch of different things in, but it'll only count as one entry. So GRC. Yeah, Alex Goodwin's got it. Stephen Kell's got it. Oh, you guys all figured it out. All right. We will draw at the end of the news cycle before I start the hey, what's coming up next and stuff like that. Good luck to everybody on winning the free or the giveaway from Whole Cyberhuman Initiative. Definitely excited for folks. Okay. One other thing I want to share with you guys, if you don't know, I know many of you do know. In fact, Axiom Brevity wrote a very nice post on LinkedIn earlier today. If you guys want to learn some GRC work, I'm telling you, I've heard really, really, really nice things from people about the GRC course that I developed. And if you're interested, you can do !GRC in chat. If you're looking entry level, you have no IT background, you have some IT background, you're transitioning military, you're 22 and graduating college, you're 40 and getting out of the military, it doesn't matter. This GRC course is designed to teach you everything you need for an entry-level GRC course. I mean, an entry-level GRC job. And I know people who have gotten jobs in GRC, not exclusively because of the course, but it helped, right? I think Lupe Peterman is working in GRC. She took the course. Hopefully it helped her. A couple other people. I just shared it with a guy this morning. So, Jim Wales, thanks for the kind words. Y'all, this is a really great opportunity. So if you're interested, I see someone dropped it in chat, the link to the school. Go check it out. It's pay what you can. So it's like $49, but you can adjust the price to whatever you can pay, including zero. No judgment. You don't have to explain anything on why you're choosing to pay what you're paying. Just get in there, get that education, and we can use you. I'll put it that way. We can absolutely use you in the industry. We need more people. And this is a course that can help skill you up very quickly. Thank you, Prince. I'm pumped. Thank you for the kind words. All right, let's get back into the podcast.
Withdrawals, swaps, and transfers between accounts on June 12th, citing extreme market conditions. Celsius operates in principle like a standard bank, collecting deposits and loaning them out, but offering an...
Hold on, that sounds like a news story that I missed. Give me 1 second here. Did I miss one? Oh, dang, I did. Sorry, y'all. Oh, no, it's right here. Okay, I messed up. Sorry, guys.
CISO. Celsius Network hits its freezing point. The decentralized finance platform Celsius Network suspended all withdrawals, swaps, and transfers between accounts on June 12th, citing extreme market conditions. Celsius operates in principle like a standard bank, collecting deposits and loaning them out, but offering an 18.63 annual percentage yield on crypto deposits that is, of course, not backed by FDIC insurance. The value of the company's token was down 92% since April 8th, trading at around 22 cents at the time of this recording. This comes as Binance also suspended Bitcoin withdrawals.
Jesus Christ. Okay, guys, so here's the deal. Couple things to point out. One, this I'll give them a heads up, right? Like, this was a good effort, right? They tried to have an online bank, and they were giving ridiculous returns on crypto investments. Guys, I'm not saying Ponzi scheme, but like, anytime anyone offers you guaranteed 18 to 20% returns annually on your investment, that's not sustainable. Like, that would mean that the company would have to be making more than 18, 20% on your investment in order to be able to make just to pay their expenses, make a profit, and pay you your 18 to 20%. That's ridiculous. Okay, so it's no surprise that this thing imploded. It doesn't help that the stock market's is going down. Like it seems like there's an impending recession, or we're entering one. Bear markets. I don't know. I've never heard of Celsius, but this isn't surprising. This is a hot mess express. So what really sucks is if you're an individual who's invested, they've put a hold on you being able to take your money out. Again, you've loaned your money, so you basically gave them your money. You don't have access to it. If you don't own if you don't own the wallet, right, that the crypto is held in, you don't own it, right? You can say you own it, but according to the blockchain, you don't own it. I don't know if it's a rug pull, Alex Goodwin. A rug pull is when like the people who are in charge convince everybody to give them their money, and then they just take it and close shop. This just seems like, unfortunately, a perfect storm of crap for these people. I will say, this is a shout out. Again, this individual doesn't sponsor the stream or anything like that, but Zilla YouTube. There's this guy on YouTube called CoffeeZilla, and he does awesome work. Like, especially in like
I uncovered a fraud.
And he just did a video right here. It's his newest video from 14 hours ago, called "Celsius is Collapsing. Here's Why." So if you're actually interested in learning more about why this particular exchange and currency and all this thing is imploding, this guy right here, he does a wicked good job of like investigative journalism on NFTs and crypto scams and stuff like that. I'm going to drop it in chat, at least for the YouTube people. Guys, if you're not watching the stream, the daily stream on the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, that's fine. You don't have to, but like there's more, it's more dynamic. There's more content. There's like polls and stuff and access to emotes on the YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/Gerald Auger. My name is right there under my face. If you want, you can consume it any way you want, obviously, but if you want access to a little bit more functions, anyways, check out the CoffeeZilla video. I'm actually going to watch this later tonight and maybe report back to you guys on what I found.
New Chinese rat on the loose. Security researchers at Palo Alto Networks discovered a new remote access Trojan with ties to the Chinese state-backed actor Gallium. This rat has been dubbed ping pong and also marks a turn in Gallium's targets, expanding from telcos to financial and government entities. Ping pong communicates with C2 servers over the ICMP protocol. Communicating over ICMP isn't new for malware, but remains effective as few organizations inspect the traffic. It's not clear how many organizations have hacked it, but Palo Alto reports that organizations in Afghanistan, Australia, Belgium, Cambodia, Malaysia, Mozambique, the Philippines, and Vietnam have been hit. Metasploit.
Okay, so check this out. I won't spend a ton of time on this one. RAT is remote access Trojan. It's basically a persistence mechanism that kind of hides on a compromised host and allows you back in. Remember that Exchange server that we talked a couple stories ago? Could have had a RAT on it. I don't know, but it could have had a RAT on. The idea is that in more complex operations, you'll actually have a team that's responsible for like breaking in, getting the initial access and stuff like that, and then another team will come in and do whatever the main execute on objective is. This Chinese hacking group obviously is going through and establishing compromises all over the place, getting remote access. It probably goes up to some type of like centralized, cPanel or management console where you can see. I believe Cobalt Strike actually has this, but like here's a spreadsheet of all your compromised. So it's like click here to enter, and it's like going like log me in or remote desktop. You just like you're in. Okay, so here is the interesting thing about this, and this isn't new, but it is cool, is that they are using ICMP in order to push the C2 traffic. Now, this is probably a little bit more for people not in the industry or younger in your career, because you may have heard about this already. But here's the deal: when an endpoint is compromised, right? So it's got a rat on it. Well, what does it do? How does someone connect to it? It needs to be able to talk to the mothership. Okay, so the way that happens is called C2 traffic, or command and control traffic, right? And it's reaching out to the mothership for commands, like what do I do? And the mothership is controlling it, right? Hence the name. So how, like, if it's communicating like that, that isn't good. And you can see it like in a SIM, or you can see it if your EDR, which is your endpoint detection response agent on the endpoint, is seeing weird traffic, because it has to go to an IP, right? It has to, in order to successfully connect and get that information. And you could see information coming back typically, right? Threat actors will do some crazy stuff. They might install a couple different beacons on the endpoint. So if you catch one, you don't catch them all, right? You don't fully clean the compromise up. Two, they might split the pings out by like a day, 30 days, 2 months, whatever. So that one packet, you never really catch it because it's not obvious, right? If it's pinging every 2 minutes, it's going to have like a heartbeat, right? And you'll see it very obviously, right? Rita, a tool by Black Hills Information Security, is designed to catch these type of things. Well, here's the thing. It uses ICMP, or the Internet Control Management Protocol. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it's basically at the same, I believe it's at layer 4. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not really TCP or UDP unless you're on a Linux machine, which is a totally different thing. But like, it's ICMP. So if you're looking for beaconing in TCP, you're not going to catch it. And again, it's not novel to hide C2 traffic in the ICMP packet, because there is, like, if you actually break out the packet and look at like how all the bits and bytes are allocated, there is spaces in there for you to put stuff in. And that's what they're doing. They're kind of hiding it in there. You can do it with DNS traffic as well. Well, this is, I guess this is just clever, because they're doing it, they're hiding, and you would not, yeah, ping. Normally it's used for like network, yeah, thank you. ICMP is same layer as IP. Exactly. Yeah, layer 3. So here's the deal. Ping is typically used just for like network maintenance, like is the server up and et cetera. So you don't really think too much about it. And this is a clever way to hide into it. So again, the key takeaway you should take out of here is that obviously threat actors are, using these techniques advanced in order to hide in the noise, using techniques that SOC analysts may not be looking at. And that ICMP can be used for C2 traffic, right? Like as a trivia question or an interview question. The final thing I'll say on this is, if you are a SecOps analyst, I'm not saying that like you should be on red alert that you guys are getting pwned by this Chinese hacking group, but just be mindful that you are looking for beaconing, not just in TCP or UDP. Well, you wouldn't really, I don't think you'd see it in UDP, but you look for beaconing in both in ICMP as well, right? So I said ICMP was at TCP or UDP. Correction here, because that's layer 4. Layer 3 is at the IP level. So I guess just be mindful of that. Okay.
Learn some new tricks. Rapid7 released version 6.2.0 of its popular pen testing framework, adding a new capture plugin that automatically starts 13 services to capture credentials on a network. Metasploit already largely offered these capabilities, but this update streamlines it into a simple plugin. It also added support for quickly launching a read-only SMB v3 server for hosting payloads remotely for testing. Rapid7 noted that its most popular module among testers was the one to exploit Log4Shell on Linux and Windows hosts. And
all right, well, okay, so here's the deal. Metasploit, if you don't know, it's like a really great framework. It's usually the first thing that people who are learning ethical hacking or pen testing pick up if they don't go through like an actual formal program and learn kind of the theory behind the cyber kill chain and doing recon and all that. A lot of people, myself included, of course, I'm old, so like cyber kill chain did exist when I started messing with this stuff. But like typically the first thing you do if you're new to the game is you download Metasploit, you stand up a test server, and you just start like hammering it. And then you get frustrated because you don't know how to navigate Metasploit through the command line and all this other stuff, right? Classic 1, 2, 3. Everybody's experienced it, I'm sure. Metasploit has basically continued to make itself useful. Script kiddies love it. If you are wanting to like pen test your own organization or an application or something like that, and you can't afford a pen test team, or you're interested in kind of doing it yourself, Metasploit's a great option. Basically, what Metasploit's done here is they've increased the usability and function. They didn't increase the functionality, because basically they didn't add any new functions. They increase the usability by kind of packaging all of the popular credential theft functions into like one command. So now it's like the essence of script kiddie, right? Like you, you compromise a host and you push one button, and then you go get a cup of coffee. When you come back, 156 different payloads or attempts have been made to pull all sorts of different creds. The other cool thing was that they said that they support now SMB3 share, which would basically just allow you to have kind of like a file repo of payloads that you want to be able to pull. So your attack framework is essentially modular. So way to go, Metasploit. Guys, if you haven't played with Metasploit, check it out. It's fun. It's a little intimidating if you don't know what you're doing, but you can do all sorts of great stuff in it. The social engineering toolkit is part of Metasploit. You can, or maybe it's not. Maybe Set sits on its own. Anyways, Metasploit's a good time. Maybe I'll do like a lab video on Simply Cyber. It's been a while since I did a produced video for Simply Cyber. I haven't had time. So if I'm going to do a rubber ducky video. Thanks to Jess Bishop for the blog post. I did the whole thing. So now you can plug in my rubber ducky and it plays a Rickroll on anyone's computer. So that was, I know Heath Adams did a $2 rubber ducky. The lowest I could get it is $15, but it's still a fun project. All right.
Now your Should Have Patched Tuesday update. The German pen test firm CIS reports on 2 security vulnerabilities in Mitel 6800 and 6900 IP phones that could allow for an attacker to gain root access due to an undocumented backdoor. Patches were released in May 2022. Drupal issued a security advisory on flaws found in its third-party library Guzzle that could allow attackers to take control of an affected website. And JFrog Security Research documented a vulnerability in Envoy Proxy that could allow attackers to stage a denial of service attack. This week.
All right. I was trying to pull up the different stories, but there was like a whole bunch of different stories that didn't make any sense. I guess I would just recommend you go to the cisoseries.com and check it out. Basically, it's just a list of different compromises that you should be aware of. I've never heard of the Envoy proxy, so the fact that it has a denial of service vulnerability that can allow it to crash. Okay, no big deal. Guys, standard practice here. If you're in an organization, vulnerability management is a core capability of any information security program, and every organization should have it, whether it's a matrix responsibility or if you have a dedicated vuln management manager. Keep your stuff patched, keep awareness of where your bugs are, stay informed on threat intel. Definitely consider the CISA actively exploited vulnerabilities list. That's if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just show you really quick, because, and this is the last thing before I pivot into what we're doing here. If you're responsible for any vulnerability management at your organization, you want to be able to look for CISA's known exploited vulnerability logs. I'm going to drop it in chat really quick. And I know we've shared this on stream before, but if you're new here, these are actual vulnerabilities that exist that are being actively exploited, which means your level of concern should be way up, because it's not just a theory that you could be compromised. Like, people are actively compromising these things. And if you have an internet facing asset that has one of these vulnerabilities on it, again, you should prioritize getting that either off the internet facing network, right? If does it have to be internet facing, or was that just a lazy decision, like, oh, it's just easy, just stand it up, or hey, let's repurpose this web server to make it whatever server. So maybe you don't even need it internet facing. If you do, patch it, bring it down and patch it, whatever. But definitely prioritize going through this particular list for vuln management. Okay. And by the way, vuln management doesn't end. It's an ongoing thing. You can't be done with vulnerability management, right? All right.
On the CISO Series podcast.
Okay, so that sounds like that's it for news stories. Tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. I will hear US cyber warfare. A lot of super excited. Even though we that there are analysts and commentaries. Get off that. There's analysts and commentary from Clint Bodungeon and Simon Lindstedt. So if you want, like I would implore you to make this event, right? Book it on your calendar, 11:30 a.m. Eastern to 12:30 roughly p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. You can go to youtube.com/threatgen, which I'll put in chat here. It depends what feed you want, okay? So if you want to watch the Shoutcast and be able to see both my feed and Eric's feed at the same time and get expert analysis from a senior industry professionals, go to the ThreatGen. If you want to see me flip out in all my glory, and since I'll be the threat actor, I'll be extra devious. Come to the Simply Cyber channel. If you want to support Eric and the Barricade Cyber team, go to Barricade Cyber Solutions. We'll have the links all over the place tomorrow, but definitely, oh yeah, I got to do the raffle. Thanks, Carrie. But definitely check it out. Let's raffle that coffee off, guys. I'm sorry. So let's do that. Good luck to everybody who entered the raffle. Apologies for not doing it. Okay, cool. Here we go. Ready? Rolling. Good luck to everybody. And the winner is, yes! Nightbot's going to announce the winner in a second. I did it off stream. But guess what, everybody? Miss Anna Lynn is our winner of the coffee today. Thank you, Nightbot, for sharing that. Way to go, Anna Lynn. Forrest, hey, get off Ripley. The live stream is tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You definitely want to come do that. Anna Lynn, connect with me in Discord, and I will get you connected with Paul Cummings for your coffee. All right, guys. Also, it's like Eric Taylor week, by the way. If you want, I already teased this in the intro, but if you want, definitely come on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Simply Cyber Live. I do the morning threat briefings, but I also do a long 1-hour expert, interview, like your traditional late night talk show thing where I interview industry experts and get lots of value out of them for the community. And we're going to be talking with Eric, who lives and breathes. Basically every day for Eric is somebody else's worst day. That's what Eric is living. His day-to-day job is dealing with everybody's worst day. So we're going to be talking about what it's like to deal with a live ransomware incident, and we'll see where the conversation goes. You know what I mean? All right, guys. So that's going to do it for the cybersecurity threat briefing. We went a little long today. Thank you for sticking with me. I genuinely appreciate it. I like that the audio was good. Hopefully, the new setup, the new scene is working for everybody. Yes, you did, Anna. You definitely won. Congratulations. All right, guys. Have a great Taco Tuesday. We will see you all tomorrow, Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next daily cyber threat briefing. If you got value, definitely hit the like button. That definitely is one way to say thank you. But the way that I would most appreciate is if you share on social media what we're doing here every single morning. We got a new record here. It looks like 138 people have joined us this morning just on the Simply Cyber stream. So we're definitely top 200, I bet, for the audience. So congratulations to everybody. Thank you. We're doing wonderful work here. And it's in part from all of you showing up every day, networking, engaging, being positive and inclusive people. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. I really appreciate all of you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Be good, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Anna, connect with me on Discord. We'll get you that coffee. All right, bye, everybody.